Andrew and I have been working on our business for a few years now on a full-time basis. We're actually, our backgrounds are not in real estate in the first place. It's actually more kind of finance backgrounds, and we just saw a need in the marketplace, and it didn't seem like there were many groups willing to step up and kind of fill that need. So we created our own sort of entrepreneurial opportunity, and 3.5 years later, we finally got some projects underway, and we're really excited about that. See if I can go through this here. Okay, so our company name is Stage 3 Properties, and that's a reference to the third, what we view as the third life stage, kind of following adolescence and then in the college sort of years. And it's a new life stage that's kind of emerged over really the last couple of decades, with the average age of marriage being shifted back really by about 6 years, from 22 years old in 1970 to 28 years old today. And to me, this is one of the more interesting statistics, and really underpins a lot of the opportunity at hand. It's this shift in the average age of marriage, which is literally an institution that's been around for thousands of years. To have a 6-year shift in like a generation or two's time is pretty massive, and you can't have that without there being really incredible social and economic implications. So this consumer that we're sort of catering to today, they're saying no to marriage and children, and they're saying no to suburbia, and instead they're saying yes to their careers and to social activity and to urban living. But they've really got no place to call their own at this point. And if you look at, this is one pretty interesting statistic, that about 1/3 of 18 to 34-year-olds are living at home with their parents. And you can see that there's been a kind of recessionary spike, and it's yet to be seen kind of how much of that will return, what level it will normalize at. I suspect it'll come down a bit over time, but where it normalizes is still quite significant. And with the trend to urban living, the cost of housing for this consumer has gone up as well. There's a lot of data on this slide, but in short, what it says is that for most entry-level positions requiring a college degree in New York City, everything in red is a position that really is not paying sufficient income to afford the average price studio in the city, the $2,500 that Seth had mentioned. So $2,500 times that 40 times requirement is $100,000 a year. That's what we're saying as a city. That's what we're saying to our newcomers. 23-year-old, if you're not earning $100,000 a year, you're really relegated to being a second-class citizen in the city. Of course, the fact that $2,500 a month is expensive has not kept this demographic from finding their way into the city. Instead, what's emerged is a really massive underground housing market. And that housing market today transacts primarily on sites like Craigslist, and kind of informally as this consumer will post on their Facebook page, hey, anybody know someone moving to the city? I need to find a roommate. It's really the roommating sort of culture in housing that exists in this underground market. What you see here is a snapshot of Craigslist, the rooms and shares section, which some of you may be familiar with. If I were to add up all of the listings in the city, and each one of these dots represents at least one listing, and the green is in the single digits and the yellow is in the double digits in a particular area. If I were to add all these up, you're talking about 2,500 listings for rooms or shares, kind of spare bedrooms, on any given day in New York City. And it's not unique to New York City either. Here you'll see San Francisco, 2,600, Miami, 1,800. So it's happening in urban centers all over the country. And we've put together this little index, which I think is pretty telling. This is looking at the top 30 markets for young professionals, and looking at the rooms and shares activity on Craigslist as a percent of the conventional rental market. So you can see New York City, although it's significant, 13%, it's not even the highest. You got Boston standing out like a sore thumb at 22%. 22% of all rentals are for roommating-based products. And of course, Boston being a hub for a lot of universities too. So this occurs with a lot of shortcomings, and there's a blog that I love called The Worst Room. So here you see, this is a room on the Upper West Side, and it's going for about $1,100 a month. And some of you will probably think, well, that's probably not so bad, $1,100 room on the Upper West Side. Until you see that this room is 3 feet high. Sleep loft can sit comfortably. But this is kind of a humorous one, but it gets sometimes not so humorous, and here's an example of what I mean by that. Here's a Craigslist ad. This one is San Francisco. Looking for a very, very open-minded female to share a bedroom with one male. We'd share the same room and the same comfy queen-size bed, but though not necessarily in an intimate way. Oh, and he wants pictures too. So we just, like the Weissmans, we see an opportunity to evolve the housing stock in a way that really kind of promotes one's kind of well-being a bit more. That starts with safety and security, promoting kind of social activity and social well-being, and then providing a product that's ultimately consistent with one's self-image. But that's just what we need to do to compete with the underground market. For us, it's not enough to stop there. We really are looking for the opportunity to build a world-class brand, and that means really over-delivering relative to expectations in every way. So I'll spare you the details of this slide, but literally we've gone through very holistically, each of these points: affordability, location, comfort, services, etc. And we've decided that if we wanted to build a world-class brand, we're going to have to address each of these items, the shortcomings in the underground housing market. This is real data. Each dot on here is one of those Craigslist listings, and we've gone in and we've looked at the quality of those Craigslist listings of the rooms that were being posted. And as you can see, as you'd expect, as you shift up the curve of quality, you also shift up the curve on price points. We think the opportunity is to create a sort of room share type of product, purpose-built, but to be at price points that are competitive with the underground housing market. And we want to really deliver a higher quality solution, shift it further out on that curve. We do that in 2 ways. One is purpose building this with efficiency in mind. Here you see, and again, as Seth had mentioned in one of his projects, this bathroom is designed with pocket doors to divide the shower from the sink and the toilet. Again, giving 2-person functionality to a single bathroom. You're only carrying the cost of building one bathroom and laying one set of plumbing, but you have two individuals housed there. And then, of course, resource furniture is completely critical for getting multiple functions out of a bedroom. As you see in this graph here, there's no living room. Our living room is designed to be, per code, a habitable sleeping room. That means that we give consideration to light and air requirements. And then the resource furniture systems allow us to use, or allow our tenants to use their bedrooms like a living room. And it's also important to embed the amenities, that are consistent with a world-class brand. So we're talking about housekeeping services, we're talking about doorman services, and loaded with really very cool amenities that you'd otherwise have to pay, $3,000 a month or more first just to afford in a studio in a building like that. It's not just about the product, it's also about the process. And bait and switch scams really run rampant on Craigslist, and bad roommates run rampant. So part of our solution is also, right now, we're designing out a roommate matching platform. It's kind of like eHarmony or Match.com, but for the roommate culture. So I'll leave it there for now. Happy to take any questions if we have time. I'm not sure we have to.
We do have time. Instead of me asking questions of them, I feel like it'd probably be best to use the last few minutes for you guys to ask, either Chris or Seth questions.